Sports. We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T Uverse TV. Welcome into a slightly overcast evening here at Globe Life Park. The Rangers and the Tampa Bay Rays getting set to wrap up this four-game series. And welcome in, everyone. Along with Tom Grieve, Steve Busby. Delighted you can join us for this Thursday night of Rangers baseball. Rangers trying to salvage a split out of this series with the Rays, having split the first two games. The Rays won last night to make it a 2-1 advantage for them, and Rangers trying to win this evening. They will go to Robbie Ross Jr., who's making his first start in about 2 months at the Major League level tonight.
You know, Buzz, he got off to a good start in April in the rotation, and then he struggled a little bit. Then he was sent back to AAA, and he struggled some more. Fortunately, Robbie has turned it around pretty well. If you look at his last 5 starts at Round Rock, they've been very solid. He's had a couple of complete games during that time. His ERA is under 3, and his strikeout-to-walk ratio is excellent. 21 strikeouts, only 3 walks. So he's pitched very well in his last 5 starts. He's pitched a 9-inning complete game. He's ready to be back. Hopefully his confidence will be high and be ready to pitch a good ball game tonight.
Yeah, and hopefully Robbie got back some of that bulldog mentality we've seen him have over the last couple of years coming out of that Ranger bullpen. Tonight he'll be on the hill to start things off. So the Rangers and the Rays getting set to wrap up this series. Ruben Odor and company taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Rangers in Tampa Bay right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. By your Texas Ford dealer. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event. Now playing at a Ford dealer near you. By AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT, mobilizing your world. And by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. A nice night, a bit of a breeze blowing in from left field this evening. Temperature in the low 90s as the Rays and Rangers get set to do battle. Let's head down to the field and check in with Emily Jones. Em?
Well, Buzz, obviously Ron Washington, very familiar with his starting pitcher tonight, Robbie Ross, said, but it is a bit of a different situation that Robbie is coming back into. So I wanted to ask the skipper what words of advice he might have for Robbie.
Well, once we realized you wasn't pitching, it was Robbie Ross' day, and it just fell on his day. So we brought him up because he's a pitcher that can give us some innings if, exactly what we need instead of pitching out the bullpen. So hopefully Robbie has made an adjustment and he come up here and do well.
And I did ask him what he'll tell him and to kind of reassure him back here at the major league level. And he said he just tell him, like he tells all of the young pitchers, trust your stuff, do what got you here. And as you guys talked about, Buzz and Tom, at the top of the show, he didn't fare so well at the beginning of his minor league stint, but really turned it on there toward the end, and obviously pitching well enough to get another opportunity here tonight.
All right, Emily, thank you. Yeah, and it's important. It's important as part of the evaluation process, not only for the Rangers, but for Robbie Ross Jr., too, to have a strong showing. Well, here's the Tampa Bay order that he will face. Brandon Guyer leads off. He's the left fielder. Ben Zobrist is in right. The DH tonight, Evan Longoria. James Loney bats cleanup, plays first. John Rodriguez at third base. Gino Escobar is the shortstop. Logan Forsythe plays second. Jose Molina is catching. And Kevin Kiermaier, the center fielder, bats ninth.
Now we'll look at our Sonic scouting report for Robbie Ross Jr. 18 games this year. He's 2-4 with a 5.61 ERA. In his last 5 starts at AAA before tonight, he was pitching pretty well. A 2.91 ERA, 21 strikeouts and only 3 walks. 5 career games against Tampa Bay. They've all been relief appearances, but they've gone very well. Opponent's batting average of 100, and they haven't had an earned run against Robbie in those 5 appearances. It'll be very interesting to see how Robbie adjusts to being in the big leagues again. He was pitching good in AAA. He's been here before. He should be confident and ready to go.
Yeah, let's take a look at the Ranger defense behind Robbie Ross tonight. It's delivered to you by Break Check. Outfield, Ducey, Martin, and Chu left, center, and right. Mike Garvin first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Beltre at third. And Giovanni Soto behind the plate, catching Robbie Ross Jr. Well, the 25-year-old left-hander out of Kentucky, Robbie Ross Jr., getting set to climb back on top of the Major League mountain. He's going to work tonight and facing a Tampa Bay club that enters play this evening, 2 games under 500 for the year. This is a team that in the middle of June was 18 games under 500. So by virtue of the second best record in the American League since that time, they are sneaking back to that 500 mark. They've gotten as close as 1 game under. Here's the first pitch of the night, and Brandon Guyer shoots it foul to the right side. It is 0-1. Guyer, a 273 hitter with 2 home runs and 20 RBI. On base percentage moving up for Guyer. That's why he's in the leadoff spot. Takes that pitch inside. 1-1. 92 degrees at first pitch this evening. Wind down to the east-southeast. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oh, Robbie Ross immediately keeping that ball in on Guyer pretty effectively. One thing that Ron Washington and Mike Maddox had said was important for Robbie to work on when he went to AAA, get himself back together, was the ability to get the ball on his right side of the plate, so his glove side, the third base side of home plate. He was having trouble keeping the ball there consistently. That would be in on a right-hander and away to a left-hander. And he got that one down and in, perfectly placed. Strikeout number 1.
Pretty much every pitch he's thrown has been right where he wanted it to be, and that's what he did his first 2 years in the big leagues as a relief pitcher. Consistently come in and pound that ball in that same location right there. So that's a very nice opening batter for the ball game for Robbie. The pitches he's trying to make.
Now 1 gone. Here is Ben Zobrist, the switch hitting utility type player, not a utility man, but utility in that he can play almost anywhere you want him to play. He's playing right field, has for the last 2 nights. Takes strike 1. We saw Zobrist at shortstop in this series and at second base. Plays all 3 positions in the outfield. Mr. Versatility for the Tampa Bay Rays. 1 ball and 1 strike. And also one of the hotter hitters on the Tampa Bay club. He has a .282 average. You see, right-handed this year. He has hit about 120 points higher than he has left-handed. He takes a strike to make it 1-2. Robbie Ross Jr. Exchanging sides of the plate with that fastball. Has the advantage in the count to Zobrist. Next pitch. And Zobrist having to protect home plate. Fouled it off. Zobrist in this series is 3 for 14, so the Rangers have done a pretty good job of cooling him off a bit. You go back over the last 18 ball games. That's to the 25th of July. He's hit .397. Got him swinging.
One thing
Hard cutter down and in.
It sure was. And one thing Robbie did really nice in that bat to Zobrist, in addition to throwing that same pitch in that he struck out Geyer with, he also threw a couple of good fastballs on the outside part of the plate that Zobrist just kind of reached for and fouled away. Pitches 3 and 4. You can see them, one of them outside, one of them on the outside corner. And then when he comes back in with that pitch, he's unable to look for it, and he was fooled by it and missed it.
And Evan Longoria takes strike 1. Bobby Ross not messing around. He is throwing a lot of strikes. 9 of the first 11 pitches. And now 10 of the first 12 have been strikes. And Longoria down in the count, 0-2. Evan Longoria, the team leader with 14 home runs. 60 RBI. 1-2. Saw that statistic for Longoria, hitting 3 of his last 4 home runs on the road. Just inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A .251 average for Longoria. That is not in his accustomed territory. Chopper foul outside third. Tom Foley, the third base coach. A nice barehanded pickup. And the count remains even. Robbie working quickly and gets the strikeout. Ross coming back to the big league, strikes out beside the first inning that he had. 1, 2, 3, and we'll see you later. Half an inning in the books, no score. bat now. In the bottom half of inning number 1, here's the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers batting order tonight. Shin-Soo Choo, the right fielder, again leading things off. He's followed by the shortstop, Elvis Andrus. Mike Carp at first base. Adrian Beltre bats cleanup. Alex Rios again DHing tonight. Leonis Martin in center hitting 6th. Giovanni Soto is catching. Jim Aducci in left. And Brugnet Odor, the second baseman, bats 9th.
The Sonic scouting report for Jake Odorizzi. 23 starts, 8-9, nice ERA, 3.89. Last 11 starts, very impressive, a 2.63 ERA. 139 strikeouts, that's the most among major league rookies. It's also 139 strikeouts in 122 innings. He's 9th in total strikeouts. He's 3rd in the American League in percentage of strikeouts per 9 innings. He struck out 10.2 per 9 innings.
Shin-Soo Choo leading off, taking ball 1. Choo at 243 with the average. 11 home runs, 38 driven in. And Odorizzi misses again, low and outside, 2-0. The overshift. You saw the shortstop Escobar sneaking over just before that last pitch to join the right side of the infield. 2-1. Choo 2 for 7 in his career against Odorizzi. Not a lot of Rangers have much experience against the right-hander. Choo has the most. Pitch top foul, 2-2. Odorizzi already in his young career has been involved in trades for a couple of pretty impressive guys. He went from Milwaukee down to Kansas City in exchange for Zach Greinke. A few other players involved, but then came from Kansas City to Tampa. James Shields and Wade Davis going to Kansas City. And he strikes out Choo looking. So we have yet to have a hitter put the ball in play tonight. 4 of them have come up, 4 of them have gone down on strikes. So 1 gone. Let's take a look at the Rays defense tonight, brought to you by Progressive. Outfield of Geyer, Kiermaier, and Zobrist, left, center, and right. Loney at first, Forsythe and Escobar up the middle tonight. John Rodriguez to start at third. Jose Molina behind the plate. Jake Odorizzi is on the mound. Oh, 1 away. Here's Elvis. 272. The average for the Ranger shortstop. He hammers that into the left field. It's hooking into the corner. A fair ball and off the wall. Geyer plays the carom and into second standing with a ringing double. Here's Elvis Andrus.
Well, that's about as Elvis is in a pretty nice streak. Swinging the bat very well. Hitting .340 in his last 19 games. One of the harder balls he's hit. Fastball tailing in, but he got the good part of the bat on it. Took a nice swing at it, hit it right off the base of the wall in left field. Elvis stays hot.
Saw Elvis turn on a Chris Archer fastball last night and drive it pretty well to left. That's good to see.
Very good.
No, the first base runner of the game for either team. Now here's Mike Carp. Takes a fastball for strike 1. Carp, 194 average overall. He is in a Ranger uniform, 2 for 12.
Now, Odorizzi is a strikeout pitcher, but he does it in a little bit different way than Chris Archer, last night's starter for Tampa.
The center field. Kiermaier started in, then had to backtrack a little bit, but he made the catch, and that's out number 2.
Archer, one of the hardest throwers in the league. He was averaging 95 or 96 miles an hour last night with a hard power curveball. Odorizzi's fastball won't reach the mid-90s, but he also throws along with it a very nice changeup. In fact, 23% of the time he'll throw a changeup, and it's an excellent changeup. And the combination, along with his other pitches, has allowed him to be the 9th leading strikeout pitcher in the league.
Yeah, Odorizzi credits teammate Alex Cobb for teaching him that changeup grip. He perfected it over the winter. Kind of nice your teammate take care of you like that.
Yeah, and if you can perfect the changeup that Alex Cobb is featuring, you're going to be off to the races, because that's one of the best changeups in the league.
Adrian Beltre, a .317 average. That's good for 5th in the American League. 17 home runs, 62 RBI. And he's got another one out there at second in the person of Elvis Andrus. 1-0 the count. Odorizzi a check of second. Now 2-0. This is one of those cases, even with Alex Rios hitting next, I'd be surprised if Odorizzi gave into Adrian Beltre in a run-producing situation. And it's no disrespect to Alex Rios, but Beltre has been doing it all year long in this lineup. Pitch inside, 3 balls, no strikes. Here's Alex waiting to be next. Elvis at second. He was there 1 out later than he had when he got that booming double to left field. 3-0 as Odorizzi sets. Ball 4. A 4-pitch walk, and not a whole lot of interest on Odorizzi's part of throwing a strike to Beltre. 2 on, 2 out. Alex Rios now an opportunity to get the Rangers on the board. Rios step in hitting at .290. Been in a bit of a downturn since that ankle was hurt up in Toronto right after the All-Star break. 4 home runs, 46 RBI. Alex, though, has seen that batting average plummet in the last 3 or 4 weeks. First pitch to him. Off speed, waved at and missed for strike 1. Rios 4 for his last 33 times to the plate. That covers those 10 games, a .121 average. Odorizzi back to him. And it's skied to shallow center. Kiermaier waiting for it to come down, puts it away, and that will do it. Rangers get a double and a walk, but strand 2. We have played 1 at Globe Life Park. The Rangers nothing and the Rays nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Sports Southwest joins with Carter Blood Care to save thousands of lives. Just 1 pint of blood donated can save up to 3 lives. So far, 309 lives have been saved as we head into our 3rd Friday of 5 this month. Our drive continues tomorrow at the Cedar Hill Donor Center from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come on out and help Carter Blood Care save 1,000. Well, Robbie Ross Jr., I don't think you could script a better first inning than he had. He struck out Geyer, Zobrist, and Longoria in order. Took them all of 15 pitches. And he got rid of them in the first inning, back quickly. And now going to work in the second here against James Loney.
Well, if you looked at Robbie when he was pitching here right before he got sent down, and you listened to Ron Washington, you listened to Mike Maddox, explained to him what they wanted to see when he came back, and then looked at one inning. You saw it in the last inning. He pretty much came out and did exactly what they could have hoped he would do.
Yeah, James Loney puts it in play weakly to second. That's out number one. John Rodriguez coming up. And we will go over and say hello to Jim Knox. Hey, Jim.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Ranger fans having a good time here at Globe Life Park. Right, look, mother-daughter night, huh? Very well. Good night so far? All right, very good night. There we go, community quarter. Speaking of the night it is, how about Japan American Heritage Night? That's right. A lot of activities going on around Globe Life Park, including some musical presentations before the game. Everybody having a nice time. To find out more on how the Rangers are involved in the community, log on to TexasRangers.com/foundation. All right?
All right, Knoxie, thank you. A strike on the outside corner. Rodriguez taking it. It's now 1-1. John Rodriguez, a .224 average, had one of the 3 home runs in last night's ball game for Tampa Bay. It's that pitch inside, 2-1. What a little deja vu all over again. How about Robbie Ross, the first time this year that he started for the Rangers? Struck out the side in order.
Really?
Against Philadelphia.
Wow.
He's got that down pretty well.
Well, he'll go 3 weak ground balls to second this inning for something different.
And I don't know that he's put those two together before. Yeah, he got Revere, Howard, and Bird.
Wow.
With Philadelphia the first time out. Our crack research staff came up with that. That's a great factoid.
Very nice.
Now 2 up, 2 away here in the second. Junel Escobar will face Robbie Ross Jr. Escobar, a .260 average, 4 home runs, 30 RBI. 1 ball, no strikes. Escobar, a handful of at-bats against Robbie Ross Jr. 1 for 4. Takes off the plate inside. Escobar 3 out of 8 in the series, and Escobar pointing something out in right field. I don't know what it was. He's not Babe Ruth, so I know he's not pointing where the ball's going to go. Chopper slowly hit to third. Beltre off balance and throws it wide, but backing it up nicely. Rougned Odor, and that will be an infield single for Escobar. And Beltre got to it, but just had to go too far to make a strong, accurate throw. Now there's the first base runner of the night for the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, very difficult play. And basically the way Adrian's been playing defense the last month, if he can't make the play, it's got to be a base hit. But the ball's rolling, fairly hard when he barehands it, which makes it a little bit difficult to get a grip on the ball. Also back a ways right on the line and a little bit longer throw than normal on that kind of a play. So the degree of difficulty was quite high. Good try, but base hit all the way.
Now Logan Forsythe, the second baseman, taking strike 1 as Adrian Beltre checking out his hand. What happened to you? You didn't throw the ball straight that time. Forsythe, .245 with the average. He is now talent cam 0-2. Here's our phantom cam on maybe a look from what the first baseman would see.
In slow motion, you can see him. Boy, that's really fun to watch that. When he grabbed the ball, he had his whole hand open, and as he took the ball from there to throwing it.
Deep left field, back at the wall is a Ducey, and that ball's gone. Logan Forsythe with his 5th home run of the year, and Robbie Ross, who had retired the first 5 in relative ease, has given up an infield single and a 2-run home run. It's 2-0 Tampa.
Batting 8th, the catcher, number 28, Jose Molina.
He tried to get that ball in and actually did. It was up and in off the plate. It's tough to call that a mistake. Might not have been perfectly located where he wanted it, but it's not like it caught the middle of the plate or anything. Sometimes I guess you just have to give some credit to the hitter.
Yeah.
He put a pretty good swing on it. He didn't get jammed. He didn't pull it foul. Get that pitch right out of the ballpark.
I would think in that location it's tough for most guys to get the head of the bat to it.
Yeah. You know, you watch that ball go off the bat out of the ballpark and you just make the assumption he must have missed his location by a lot, put it out over the plate, but that really wasn't the case with that pitch.
Jose Molina, a little tapper to third. Beltre will have all day to throw out the slow-footed Jose. Well, that'll do it, but the Rays get an infield single and a 2-run home run. After 1.5, it's Tampa Bay 2 and the Rangers nothing. Shown on one of our upcoming broadcasts. That's all thanks to the good folks at AT&T. Just use hashtag Southwest Fan Photo, and we might select your photo to be aired during one of our upcoming broadcasts on Fox Sports Southwest. We'll show you our selection for tonight a little bit later on. Now, Logan Forsythe turning around a Robbie Ross high tight fastball for a 2-run home run. We go to the bottom of the second inning now. Jake Odorizzi with that 2-0 lead. Odorizzi will face Leonys Martin to start things off. He'll be followed by Giovanni Soto and Jim Adduci. And the strike for Leonys. Martin really turning things around the last couple of days. He has 5 hits in the last 2 ball games on 5 for 9. It's fisted there and fights it off. It's 0-2. Leonys, his first career 4-hit game night before last. And last night 1 for 3, and he scored the only run of the game for the Rangers. 0-2 from Odorizzi. Try it again.
Buzz, want to take just a second for a shout out. Shout out for one of my all-time favorite people, Joe Macko. Joe is very well known in the Metroplex. He was a power hitting first baseman, his business manager for the Dallas-Fort Worth Spurs before the Rangers got here. And then he became the equipment manager for the Rangers for a long time and continued to work with the front office after that. Going through some health issues right now, but I think he's watching the game. Joe, hope you're watching the game, and if you are, as you well know, you got a lot of friends out here and all around the Metroplex, and we're all wishing you the best. Can't wait to see you when you get out. Looking forward to seeing you back at the ballpark soon.
Leonis Martin slapping that through the right side. So Leonis swinging a hot pass. An 0-2 pitch, able to rifle it through the hole. Yeah, let me add my sentiments to that too, Tom. Joe, one of the great people, Joe Macko, one of the great people in the Metroplex, in the history of Metroplex baseball.
No doubt about it.
Great man.
You can ask 1,000 people that know Joe Macko what they think about him, and you won't find one person to say something bad. I know that. I'm used to seeing Joe up here in the press dining room and looking down right in front of us and seeing him off to the right watching the ball game. So,
yep.
Joe, get back here quick so we can chat with you up here in the press dining room.
They're keeping your seat warm for you too.
Yep.
He'll be there. Giovanni Soto, a .250 average. Got Leonis Martin at first. Nobody out here in the Rangers' second inning. Off speed. That stays inside. 1 ball and no strikes.
I can remember 1 year before spring training, I was trying to figure out the logistics of going to spring training. And I didn't really want to bring my car to spring training because I was going to have to figure out how to get it to Texas. So I figured I would rent a car during spring training. So I drove from Massachusetts to the Metroplex.
There goes Martin. The hit and run was on. It's fouled off. 1-1.
And I stayed overnight with Joe. Joe's wife Dorothy cooked dinner, and I left my car at his house, and we drove the equipment truck to spring training. Now you've got 2 18-wheelers with professional staffs driving this stuff. But back then, Joe and his staff packed the truck the night before, and he and I drove in that equipment truck for 3 days all the way to spring training. I had a blast. Joe told stories all the way.
I'll bet. Zobrist, a long run in, but that ball really up there in the air, and he had plenty of time to get there. That's out number 1. Martin stays at first. Now Jim Adduci.
One more funny part, well, to me it is anyway, that the night that Dorothy cooked us dinner before we drove to spring training, she asked me if I liked cauliflower. And I said, well, I have to be honest with you, I really don't like it much at all. And she said, well, that soup that you just ate was cauliflower soup. How'd you like that? And I said, well, it's pretty good. She said, I must have disguised it with the cheese in it. So she kidded me about that for 20 years after that.
Didn't know you liked it until you had some
That's
of that.
right.
Some of hers. Adduci going after that first pitch with a pretty strong swing. Fouled it back. It's 0-1. Jim, a .203 average. He has scuffled a bit since he came back off the disabled list. He just 148 in the 22 games since he was activated. Well, that number is 2 for his last 27. Martin, a pretty good lead at first. And Odorizzi, quick throw, and Martin stumbled a little bit getting back to the bag. Adduci 0 for 6 in this series. Trying to move Leonis Martin along. 1 on, 1 out. Tried to bunt it to third. He bunted through it. He had Sean Rodriguez playing back and tried to drop one down and couldn't quite make contact. If he got that ball down, there's no way Rodriguez was going to get to it.
Didn't look like it.
0-2 now. And that's fouled back. Adduci did have a sacrifice fly in last night's ball game. That upped his RBI total to 8. Jack in the box pitch tracker showing you that last one right at the top of the strike zone. Adduci able to get a piece of it to stay alive. Another 0-2 pitch from Odorizzi. Now 1-2.
Odorizzi's changeup, which is obviously an excellent pitch for him. When you look at all the strikeouts he's got, that changeup must play a fairly significant role in the strikeouts, either setting up other pitches or getting strikeouts with it and with it itself.
Had a pretty good throw right down on the bag, and Leonis back just ahead of it. Medusi stepping back in. Odorizzi reading the signs, now sets. Odorizzi not making himself very popular with the folks here at Globe Life Park tonight. Our phantom cam shot of Leonis going back to the outfield corner, outfield side corner.
Specks of dirt floating in the air. Some kind of camera.
Very high, and it's 2-2.
I like looking at that camera, even if nothing's really happening, just to see the slow motion, what it looks like.
Leonis 20 out of 29 stolen base attempts this year. Got his hands full though with Jose Molina back there. Pretty good at throwing out runners. Popped up to the left side, and that would be the third baseman Rodriguez making the call. And the catch for out number 2. Fans, you can follow every Rangers game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replays, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv game of the day, and a whole lot more. Download in the App Store, or you can visit TexasRangers.com today. So 2 out, I should say, with Leonis Martin still on at first. Rougned Odor, the number 9 hitter, up there now. Takes that off-speed pitch in for strike 1. .258 the average for the Rangers second baseman. One ball and 1 strike. Good look from an RF camera up upper reaches and right down the right field line. Nice shot from a great vantage point up there. 1-1 pitch coming to Odor. There goes Martin. The pitch has popped up. Back behind second base. Forsythe, the second baseman, going out and making the call. And that will do it. Rangers get a leadoff single. Leonis Martin left stranded. On to the third we go. It's 2-0 Tampa Bay. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. And by the all-new Mazda 3 with seamless connectivity. Some high overcast floating by. A very comfortable night. Temperature right at 90 degrees now. And the breeze drifting in from left center field. Kevin Kiermaier, the number 9 hitter for the Tampa Bay Rays, leading off. And Robbie Ross gets one line to left field. A Ducey coming on. The ball hangs up there. Jim able to run it down. One pitch and one away. Now let's take time here for a Mazda game break. Here is Dana Larson. Dana. All right, Dana, thank you. What was that, 3 out of 4 over Oakland?
Yep. Pretty impressive.
Hot. Brandon Guyer started things tonight by striking out. He lines this one over Odor out into right center field. A 1-out single. Guyer able to drive that ball to the opposite alley. That is 1 on and 1 out. We'll take a look at the DirecTV standings. We were talking about that Central Division. Kansas City with a half-game lead on the Detroit Tigers. Both teams with 54 losses. Kansas City, though, has made up 8 games on the Tigers in the last 2.5 weeks. Cleveland 6 back, so they're at 500 and keeping their head right above water, right at the water line. Chicago and Minnesota holding up the rest of the division. 1 on, 1 out here. Top of the 3rd inning. Ben Zobrist showing bunt, takes the pitch low for ball 1. Zobrist, one of the 3 consecutive strikeout victims in the first for Robbie Ross Jr. Guyer with a little better than average speed at first base, has the lead, and Ross will drive him back.
Because I was reading the notes, Tampa Bay's notes, and a statistic that's become very popular for evaluating baseball players is called WAR, as we know. I'm not going to try to explain it, but it's become very popular. Basically, it tries to determine the value of a player by looking at their offensive and defensive contributions relative to the position that they play. And it might be a little bit surprising to people that know what WAR is, probably know it better than we do, that Zobrist is 3rd. The only guys ahead of him are Cano and Cabrera in the American League. So it shows how valuable his offensive and defensive contributions are for the positions that he plays when he measures up as the 3rd best next to Miguel Cabrera and Robinson Cano.
So a guy that plays, say, 4 different positions the way Zobrist does, how do you figure that if it's his defensive contribution?
They must just figure out his performance offensively and defensively when he's at those positions, and then add it all up. And again, I can't tell you exactly what the formula is, but a lot of professional teams, all professional teams, weigh it very heavily when they evaluate players. And sabermetricians and people that are statistically oriented know exactly what it is and feel like it has a lot of significance in evaluating players. And if you really believe in it, then you have to really look at Ben Zobrist as a player that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Zobrist shoots it foul, hits it hard, but it's back about 6 rows.
It's not just what you hit when you play a certain position, it's what you hit when you're at that position and how you play that position too. So if you've got a guy that's a good hitter and you play him at 3 or 4 different spots and he's a bad fielder at all those spots, then that's going to weigh against him. I think it shows that when he plays shortstop, when he plays second, when he plays the outfield, wherever he's playing, he's also playing at a high level defensively.
Ross set for the 2-2 pitch. And it's popped up. Shallow right field. Long run in for Chu, but again, plenty of time for Shin-Su to get there. That is out number 2. Back to first is Brandon Guyer. Now Evan Longoria will come up.
Designated hitter Evan Longoria.
Longoria handling the DH chores tonight for Joe Maddon's club.
I had to go to college to figure out how to determine what a batting average was. So don't look to me to explain what we should ask John Daniels last night while he was here.
Yeah.
And how important that is in factoring in the value of a player.
There's a strike to Longoria. Longoria in this series now 4 out of 16. He was 1 for 4 with a run scored last night. He has been pretty much that 1 for 4 in each of the games. And take strike 2.
Yeah, for the most part, Robbie's doing a very nice job of using both sides of the plate. Throwing a different cut fastball in, and his probably four-seam fastball to hit the outside corner. Sometimes a cut fastball to kind of backdoor it on the outside part of the plate.
Way out in front of the count now, the 0-2 pitch. That one working down and in. That's a pretty good job by Longoria to get a piece of it. Still 0-2. Longoria has played in all 121 games now for the Rays this year. Matter of fact, he hasn't missed any of the last 201 games for the Rays, going back to last year.
I should have said when talking about Zobrist, Buzz, that it's since 2009. It's not just this year. It's over a fairly long period of time. You know, basically over a 5-year period.
So that would lead you to think he's been a fairly consistent player.
Yes, definitely.
For those 5 years.
Definitely.
Another 0-2 pitch. Runner on the move. The throw to second is not in time. Dyer able to get that right foot just in front of the tag by Odor.
Dyer had a good jump. He had a good size lead, had a good jump. Wash is trying to determine. Didn't take him long to determine he's not going to go out there. Probably got his foot in before the tag. He had a big jump. He did not steal that necessarily on Giovanni Soto.
The 1-2 now. And a little whooper to left center field. That's going to fall for a hit. And immediately the stolen base is translated into a run as Longoria gets the RBI. Dyer scores, and the Rays have a 3-0 lead.
Second inning, when the Rays scored twice, the 2-out little dribbler infield single by Yunel Escobar preceded the home run by Forsythe, and now the little blooper over shortstop scores a run in the third inning. And so Robbie, after 2 2/3, has given up 4 hits and 3 runs in 2 2/3, but he's throwing the ball a lot better than that line would indicate.
Now here's James Loney, and the pitch outside, it gets away from Soto. So down to second and into scoring position goes Evan Longoria on the wild pitch. Now you would have to say tonight that Tampa Bay is being very opportunistic.
Yeah, they are.
The way things are going.
They are. And we talked about this when Forsythe hit that home run. It wasn't a terrible pitch. It was actually inside by a few inches, and somehow he hit it out of the park.
Yep. Loney shoots it foul to the club level on the third base side.
Robbie's thrown 45 pitches and given up 3 runs, but most of his pitches have been good pitches. That part's unfortunate.
1 ball, 1 strike to Loney. Now 2-1. Ross peering in for the sign. Nods in agreement, and he's ready. 2-2 now. Longoria getting his lead from second as Ross sets. And the chopper foul just past George Hendrick down there at first base. First base coach for the Rays. The count remains even. Loney, a good steady hitter, not a power guy for a first baseman. And last night, he had a 3 for 5. That broke out of a 2 for 22 stretch that he was mired in. This guy, a former Dodger that Tampa Bay has made good use of. Still 2-2. And normally Loney hits well against left-handed pitching also. So he's the kind of player that Joe Madden doesn't have to platoon with at first. Runners in scoring position. You see Loney at 271 for the year. To right field, Chu in a hurry, can't get there. It's down for a hit. Longoria around third will score. So back-to-back 2-out RBI singles. 2 more on the board for the Rays. It's now 4-0 Tampa Bay. And Mike Maddox on his way to the mound. Now James Loney with his 54th RBI on that rocket to right.
Loney, for a first baseman, doesn't hit with a lot of power, but he doesn't strike out very much. He's one of those hitters that serves the ball out there, hits the ball to all fields. Not a guy that's going to consistently drive the ball with power, but he'll consistently hit his line drives to all fields, and been effective doing that throughout his career.
Well, 4 runs now on 5 hits. 3 hits in this inning, all 3 singles. And the Rays have put them together for a couple of runs. Sean Rodriguez, the hitter. And he takes strike 1. Rodriguez, a ground ball to second. His first time to the plate. Ross, a belt high set. He misses outside, 1-1. The Rays coming into play tonight as a team hitting at 253. That's 9th in the American League. But their offense, like their pitching this second half of the season, has been remarkably good. This pitch fouled away by Rodriguez. Got a pretty good piece of his left leg. Statistically, they have the second best pitching staff in the second half of the season, ERA wise. Offensively, they have done enough to provide that pitching staff with the support they've needed. Bill Madden's club has picked up some ground. They have gotten things turned around. You go back to that June 11th date. That's when the Rays started turning things around. The team ERA since then is 3rd best in baseball. Pitch high, it's 2-2. They have really gotten things squared around. You know, we've seen the Rays in the past several years get off to bad starts and have to make up a lot of ground. They've done it, but this was a little beyond even some of their comebacks.
Taking it to a higher level even for them.
And that pitch outside, it's a full count now. Well, Rodriguez trying to extend this third inning. As Loney at first, who will be off and running with this 3-2 pitch. Rodriguez to be followed by the shortstop, Escobar. Ross ready. The payoff pitch. We'll have to reset and try it again. Rodriguez is another one of those guys that has some utility value. We've seen him at 3 different starting positions the last 3 games. DH, shortstop, now third base. Or I should say second base. Puts that one deep down the right field line, but it's going to slice and go back into the seats.
I wonder if our man's here tonight.
I was just going to look down there and see if I can see. There
he
he
is.
Yep.
Going for 3 nights in a row. He's had a foul ball 2 straight nights.
He's got his gray jersey on too. He matches the Rays stuff.
Quite a wardrobe.
Robbie Ross, a long inning, getting ready to throw his 28th pitch of this frame. Right center field. Moving over is Shin-Soo Choo. Makes the catch, and that'll do it. But the Rays with 2 outs do some damage. They get 2 runs on 3 hits and lead 1 after 2.5. 4-0 Tampa Bay. To see a great post-game concert this season. It's this Saturday, August 16th. Budweiser presents a Joe Nichols concert following the 7:05 game with the Angels. Tickets and passes to watch the concert from the field are available at texasrangers.com/concerts. Jake Odorizzi back to the mound. His Tampa Bay teammates have given him a 4-run advantage. 4-0 Tampa Bay, and he will face the top of the Ranger order. Shin-Soo Choo, who struck out in the first, takes strike 1. Odorizzi's next pitch, a slow breaking ball. That first one we've seen like that from him tonight. I have an idea that's what Shin-Soo Choo was saying too. Hadn't seen that before. Now the 0-2. Choo just 2 for 15 in this series thus far. 2 balls, 2 strikes. You go back over the last 10 ball games, he was hit safely in 7 of them. A clip of just a hair over 300. Odorizzi back to the plate. Off to the left. It is still 2-2. Got him swinging. Well, the bottom fell out of that as Odorizzi gets Choo for the second time. Both of his strikeouts. And Shin-Soo Choo, 1 gone.
There's such a contrast between Odorizzi tonight. Odorizzi, again, is not necessarily a hard thrower. It's 90 to 91 miles an hour. But he is a strikeout pitcher. 10.2 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's the 3rd most in the American League. And since 1900, there's only been 4 rookies that ended a season with more strikeouts per 9 innings than 10.2. That's Kerry Wood, Nomo, and Gooden are the only 3 that have struck out more than that. And I think the unusual part about that is that Odorizzi is not a hard thrower. Nomo wasn't an extremely hard throw. He had that splitter that made him so tough to hit, but Kerry Wood and Gooden, of course, were hard throwers with a slider and curveball that were also pretty tough to hit, too. But Odorizzi has good breaking ball and a really good changeup. Chris Archer last night had the 87-mile-an-hour curveball, power curveball, and one of the 2 or 3 best consistently, velocity-wise anyway, fastballs in the major leagues for a starting pitcher. There's Chris. Nice ball game last night.
He got his 8th win last night. That's tied for the team lead with the man on the mound tonight, Jake Odorizzi. 0-2 to Elvis. Now a ball and 2 strikes. And Elvis, first time up, he got an Odorizzi fastball and really ripped it to left. A stinging line drive off the base of the wall out there. 2-2 now. Elvis in his last 10 ball games against these Tampa Bay Rays, a .366 average. Got fisted and hits a 2-hopper down to Rodriguez. 2 gone. Let's go down and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, fellows, Mike Harp has been on a few teams in his major league career, but this is his first swim through Texas. He says there is. There is an adjustment period.
She's not going to be able to talk now.
Uproot where you've been and move your family, move all your things, and then learn new teammates and style of play too. Got to figure out how the Rangers operate, how Ron does things, and it's not an easy transition, but at the same time, guys here have been welcoming and really helped me out and helped me get rolling. So.
My apologies to everyone for that. I couldn't resist.
You almost made it through, Em. You almost made it through with a straight face.
The best part is you're laughing harder 2 minutes after you started.
Bless my heart. Bless my heart, guys.
Oh.
Mike Harp, good dude.
Center field, that will do it. No matter how good a dude he is, he's still flying out to center. Side retired in order after 3, 4-0 Tampa Bay. Bay as we head to the top of the 4th inning, a special treat for us now, and we got Benji Molina with a microphone on down at the Ranger dugout. Benji, thank you for hopping on with us. We appreciate it.
Oh no, thank you guys for having me. It's a treat to be on TV right now.
I've got to ask you about your brother Jose. He's catching obviously in this game tonight, and do you guys still have the kind of relationship where you get on each other at this point? I mean, does he come over and get on you, and you get on him when you see each other?
No, not really. We don't even talk too much about baseball. We try to keep it in the family. You know, like I haven't seen him in months, and all of a sudden he sees me, and I'm gonna start talking about how he's not hitting well, or you know.
Yeah.
So we try to keep it. You know, we try to talk about the family, how he's doing, and everything. So we keep it away.
Benji, what was it like growing up in your family? You ended up with 3 brothers in one family becoming excellent big league catchers. Was your dad your teacher? What was it like growing up in your family?
We had a bunch of teachers, a bunch of leaders, our aunts and uncles and grandpas and grandmas, and everybody chipped in a little bit. So my dad sacrificed, my mom sacrificed a lot for us. So that's what I think it made us the way we are right now. It's just the sacrifice that they did for us, and being in the ballpark every day without hesitating, and without saying no here and then. You know, they just support us.
You know, watching you, Benji, when you're working with guys catching and even down at first base sometimes, Beltray had a nice play. It looks like teaching and giving back to the game is really important to you, and it sounds like the way you were raised, that was an important part of it also.
Yes, I don't remember I played since I was 6 until 17, 18, and then I signed. But I don't remember our teams being one guy. I remember us helping each other. I remember everybody just picking each other up. So that's the way I grew up. I think that's where it comes from, and I like to help. Seriously, I like to put my information out there for the guys and make them better, and that's what I'm going to do.
One of the guys that I'm sure you've had a big influence on is Robinson Chirinos, and we've been talking about his improvement all year. How has it been working with him?
Oh, it's been fun because he's open-minded, man. He's a horse, you know, and he wants to learn. First of all, he wants to learn, and that's the key. But he's great, man. He's doing great. We just tweaked a few things that he had, you know, and I wish I could show you. It's easier for me to show you that
sure.
to say it, but we took a few things. He already had great hands. He already had a great arm, and he put it in the plate, and wow, he's been a surprise for us.
It sounds like you took what he had he came up as an infielder, a third baseman, and you took the abilities he developed there and then kind of transferred him to being a better catcher.
Exactly, yeah. You don't want him to catch like me or anything like that, you know. You don't want him to catch like Benito Santiago, for example. You just want him to be Robbie, and the way he catches, that's the way you go at it. It's the same way as hitting. You don't want to teach everybody to hit like Rock Carew, but, you know, you just want to look at him, and the way he's doing it, we work with it.
Benji, who was a catcher that you looked up to when you were a little boy? I assume you were a catcher when you were a little boy. Who did you look up to?
You know what? I tell you the truth. My book is coming out, so all the information, you can have it there. But
great.
No, I was never a catcher until a scout saw me and gave me a catcher's mitt in the tryout, and then I signed as a catcher. But I never even caught in my life until
Really?
that day. Then I became 17, and then I became a catcher. But my brothers, they're always been, and you know, if you go to my Facebook, you'll see a picture of Yadi when he was 5 and 6 when he was a catcher, and you know, all those things. So they both been catchers and fourth batter. I was more like a first base and like a ninth batter because that's the last one, you know.
Well, you've come a long way since then.
It's true, though. It's true.
Well, I bet it is quite a gathering when all of you get together, you and Yadier and Jose and your families. You've got to have a real great relationship with all of you.
Oh man, we love each other so much, and we're picking each other up every time. And every time we get together, man, it gets crazy. We play dominoes, and you know, and we play pool, and we enjoy ourselves, our companies, and our families, like our nieces and nephews, and they enjoy it. So it's a family. It really family matters when we get together.
Are you pretty much able to do that once a year or more?
When I retire, I did it like 4 times. I had a chance to see him 4 times a year, but since I've been coaching, you only get 1 shot, and it's at Christmas, you know, and then that time.
Benji, you were traded over to the Rangers right in the middle of a pennant race and played on a terrific team. What are your memories coming over here during that season?
Well, it's not my first memory, but it's just how hot it was with me coming from San Francisco and being 50 every single day, getting here, and it's over 100 for every day. So
yeah,
it was a very, very tough transition for me. That I remember that a lot. But inside the lines, I remember that day that we clinched and we went to the World Series. I wanted to win so bad for the fans of Texas and for everybody here. We couldn't do it, but I enjoyed that day when we clinched and we went on to the World Series.
Sure. One of the things I remember, Benji, about that particular run, and you and I had talked about this when it was happening, your ability to work with Neftali Feliz, who was kind of a youngster at the time, with the second out, not quite in time, and Jose is able to beat it out. But you were able to take Neftali Feliz, who had a history of being a little bit erratic, a young man, and really settle him down during a ball game. And I marveled at how you were able to do that.
I think it works with every pitcher and every catcher. I think a catcher has to be a guide. You know, you have to guide him. So I figured if I guide him, maybe not by saying much, but by showing where I want that ball, or by showing him how to get to the spot. I think that's what my communication with him was. You know, I told him you don't have to throw hard, just hit my mitt or come down instead of up. Things like that. You know, those little things they help, man, and people overlook those things. And I always tell my catchers the communication is huge, but you got to show him, you got to give him a vision what you want to do out there, so they can see you moving, they can see the mitt moving, and that's when they realize, hey, I'm going this way. So that's the only thing I try with him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sure had a calming effect on him. I know that. I mean, you must have been able to instill some confidence in him.
Yeah, a lot of confidence comes from him throwing.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's nothing about anything else.
Yeah. Benji, thanks very much. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, Rays are gone in the fourth after 3.5. It remains Tampa Bay 4 and the Rangers nothing.
Park, as we mentioned, is Japan-American Friendship Night here at Globe Life Park. And with me now, Nozomi Tomiko of the Council General of Japan from Houston. And big activities going on there. You had your musical instruments before the game, a lot happening. What part does Japan play with the friendship here with the Texas Rangers?
Well, Texas Rangers is a great friend of Japan. I really appreciate. And I think this was initiated by President Bush, Ambassador Schiffer, such a good friend of Japan. And also today we are joined by high school students just coming from Japan to participate in the exchange program, hoisting national flags. So it's really great.
Yeah, a lot on hand tonight. I think a lot of people from the Japan Friendship Program rode the Fox Sports Fan Express, and you got to throw out the first pitch. What was that like?
Well, I really enjoyed, actually, I tried sinker, yeah. And I'm sure that was a swing.
Sinker, okay.
Yeah.
We can maybe use that. Right? Very nice. The sinker looked good. Well, congratulations on that. And Good to have you out here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Buzz.
The sinker. Okay. Odorizzi apparently throwing a sinker. He's Beltre chopped one right over to third. He's thrown out. One away here in the fourth inning, and Alex Rios coming up.
Well, that's some kind of play by Rodriguez. Talk about a stab. Well, I'd say a stab in the dark, but that would imply it was pure luck. It takes some skill to make that play. But he's not actually looking at the ball when that ball goes in his glove. Boy, what a play.
Good. Rios, a fly ball to center in the first inning. Takes strike one. Alex now a .290 average as he faces Odorizzi. One ball and one strike. Odorizzi, a 24-year-old out of Highland, Illinois. Signed out of high school with the Milwaukee Brewers. He passed up a chance to pitch for Louisville. Went to college and pitched for the Cardinals, but chose to sign instead. 2008 is his draft class. 1-2 pitch. Call strike three. Oh, Rios knew it. Alex headed back to the dugout before the pitch was rung up by the home plate umpire, Gabe Morales. The third strikeout for Odorizzi tonight. Like he caught Alex looking for something other than.
Must have been.
2 gone. Here's Leonis Martin, who singled to right. And that first pitch, kind of an awkward looking swing, and the foul ball got Morales on his bare hands.
It's one of those swings. I really want to swing. Oh, no, I don't.
It's going to hurt if I do.
He was guessing for a strike that time, and he got one way inside.
Ball getting by Jose Molina and got the right hand of Gabe Morales. Oh.
Yeah, it never made any contact with the bat. Or the glove, for that matter.
That pitch inside, 1-1. So you got, not only did it get Morales on the knee, it got him on the bare hand that was perched on top of the knee. 1-1 pitch. A bunt, and it's a good one. Rodriguez will stick it up, put it in his pocket. And on with a bunt single is Leonis Martin.
Yeah, that's one of those bunts that has a great chance to be a base hit no matter where the third baseman is playing. He deadened that ball. It hit the ground and pretty much stopped. It's a little bit more difficult to pick up a ball and throw it when it's stopped than it is if it's rolling slightly into your hand. But Rodriguez really, under those circumstances, was playing back a little bit.
Yep.
And had no chance.
And there's a high drive by Soto. Deep to left field. If it's there, it is gone. Goodbye. Giovanni Soto with his first home run of 2014. And he cuts the lead in half. It's now 4-2, Tampa Bay.
Oh, some similarities in the first 2 runs for each team. In the second inning, Escobar reached on an infield dribbler, and then Logan Forsythe hit a fastball a couple of inches inside for a home run. This time it was a bunt single for Martin, and then Soto, after the infield hit, the bunt, hits a home run on a pitch that might have been it's the exact same pitch. Up in the same spot, and maybe not quite as far inside by about an inch. Had that good sound to it. He knew it was gone.
Yep. No, a 4-2 game now, and Jim Adduci fouls off the second pitch from Odorizzi. Ball coming almost straight down, about 10 rows deep.
Both pitchers gave up a home run in this game on a pitch that I think they were pretty comfortable with if they just saw the location of it. Up and in, off the plate. Each team has hit one.
And Jim Aducey caught window shopping. He is the third out of the inning. But Giovanni Soto and Leonard Martin team up. A single and a 2-run home run. We'll go to the fifth. It's now 4-2 Rays. Every Saturday morning, it's on at 10 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Southwest, where it's not about the score, it's about the experience. And some Ranger kids going all out before they have to go back to school here in a couple weeks. Well, here we are up here, and Mark McLemore would normally join us, but he decided not to show. He's going to sit out there in the Captain Morgan Club. I think he joined. Yeah, there they are.
I had to hang with my buddy.
Yeah,
I didn't want to leave him all by himself.
Okay, yeah. If that's the way it's going to be.
This is our team. This is our team.
Don't get me wrong. I like you guys, hanging out with you guys, but I didn't want to leave him out here all by himself.
It's going to be the red team and the blue team.
The only thing you were worried about.
Let's see who wins.
The only thing you were worried about, Mac, is he'd have all the guacamole while you were back here.
Hey, can I get some guacamole and cheese? Please.
We got it coming here soon.
Yeah, that's the advantage of being where you guys are. You can order.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
By the way, it's good food over here.
It's very good. I'm really
Don't be afraid to bring any over here the next time, Mac.
Well, yeah, you guys stay right there. I'll be right there with it.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw how that worked with the guacamole. It never made it.
It's coming. It's coming. Top of the sixth inning, that's when the guac comes out.
Either way, it's good food, but we don't want to tell you the drinks. They're also good here.
No wonder those post-game shows are so good, Mac.
All right, how about a little baseball talk? What have you guys seen from Robbie Ross tonight?
Well, I like what Robbie's doing. He's been keeping the ball down, and he's not throwing as many pitches as he has been, the previous time here. And I think that's it. And one of the other things is he's working a little bit faster. I think for Robbie, when he starts taking his time or too much time in between pitches is when he has a lot of trouble. But tonight he looks like he's working a little bit quicker, and he's in the strike zone, and that's what he needs to do.
Pudge, when you were working with a pitcher and you noticed a difference in the time he was taking to pitch, between pitches, a change in demeanor or how he looked on the mound, would you go out there and say something to him?
Well, I do go and say something to him, but to be honest with you, I would like him to just catch the ball and throw, and that way we can keep the infielders and outfielders ready to go out out all the time. But one thing that I like to see more from Robbie is I would like to see him more throwing breaking pitches. He's been throwing a lot of two-seam fastballs, in and out the cutter, the two-seam, But if he can mix, the cutter and the sinker with a slider, I think it's going to be better. That's why he gave up 4 runs early in the game, because he was trying to throw too many fastballs and they was ready for it.
Well, a bunt attempt there by Zobrist, and almost got that to stay fair, but just rolled off into foul territory. I think that was, Pudge, talking about your stuff, I think that was one of the things that the Rangers were kind of hoping that Robbie would work on when he went to AAA, and that was trying to break out the curveball or slider, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea for him to see, so he can have a slow curve, something soft. He's everything that he throws, is pretty good. He throws it for strike, the sinker, the cutter, but those pitches are fast pitches, like pitch, that comes very quickly. But if we worked, from now into the season's over or in the season, if you be able to work pretty good a slow curve, he's going to be even better. But he needs that. He really needs that. And if we put that slow curve in between those two pitchers, he's going to be a very good pitcher.
I would think he needs that, especially if he wants to be a starter. Reliever, you can get away with it, right?
Yeah, reliever is one pitch, one inning or inning and a half. And he can pound the strike zone with some sinkers and cutters. As a starter, when you pitch more than 5 innings, it means like you're going to face the lineup 1, 2, or 3 times, sometimes in the game, and you have to have a slow pitch in between his 2 best pitches, so he can be able to probably go 6, 7 innings per start.
Now 1 on, 1 out. Evan Longoria, who had the RBI single his last time up. We'll step in. Zobrist at first. And Longoria swinging through a fastball. It is 0-1. That walk, by the way, that Ross issued to Zobrist, the first pass given up by Robbie tonight. Robbie okays the sign. And misses high. Longoria now with 61 RBI. That stops on the Tampa Bay club. He and James Loney 1-2, and they're 3-4 in the order tonight. They've typically been hitting back-to-back. They're the 2 biggest run producers. Robbie studying the signs from Giovanni Soto. Way inside. 3-1.
And guys, by the way, I don't want to miss this, but we just saw Dana that she's drinking a huge glass of juice right now and a massive plate of salad right now. She just finished it. Okay?
They're telling off on you.
That's good enough.
But I didn't say anything. I really didn't say anything.
That's pretty good analysis, though, Pudge.
Look, yeah.
You can't get away with much around here, you know?
No. Keep you on your toes.
With me around, nothing's going to be high.
Yeah, see, they got cameras all over the place, too. That's no good.
It's really no good. That's how you guys found out about the chips and guac.
Longoria down the left field line and deep into the corner and gone. On a 3-2 pitch, Longoria got one up, out over the plate, turned on it, and the Rays get the 2 runs back that Giovanni Soto had gotten the Rangers. It is now a 6-2 Tampa lead.
First baseman James Loney.
That looked like a cut fastball inside part of the plate. He's thrown a lot of those cut fastballs, like Pudge said, and the hitters have seen him now 3 times. And that time, Longoria, after striking out the first time up, Got a little glimpse into the second. That time he was able to turn on that cut fastball on the inside corner and hit it solidly out of the ballpark.
Yeah, I think this is where that curveball comes in. The slow curveball would come into play here. When you're throwing that cut fastball, running it in on right-handers, you got to give them a different look. You just have to give them a different look.
Got to look at Phil Klein loosening in the Ranger bullpen. And first ball swinging Loney to left center field. A dive and in and out of the glove of Leonis Martin. And Loney is going to be aboard. Well, a nice effort by Leonis Martin. He had that ball secured until he hit the ground. And the collision with the ground jarred it loose. And that'll go as a base hit.
It was a great effort from him. It was, you got to leave probably, run 30, 40 yards to get that ball. So, that's all you can do. Just play hustle and do his best.
He gets it right in the pocket of his glove. It's good until it smashes on the ground and just popped it right straight out.
Twist.
8 hits now for Tampa Bay. 6 runs off of them, and a great effort by Leonis.
No.
Oh, that popped out. He had it right there in the web, and usually with that trapeze, once it's in there, it's not coming out.
There you go.
Pitch in the dirt after the swing. Soto to second. Loney, though, able to leg it out. He hesitated going to second until he was sure that the ball was far enough away. That'll be a wild pitch to allow Loney to get the 90 feet to second.
So he really has a breaking ball, but he don't want to throw it. He throw a good one right there. He's throwing in the dirt. The guy missed it. Right now, if I'm Sean Rodriguez, I've been thinking about 3 pitches right now, and I don't know what pitch is going to come. So now maybe that card is going to work a lot better right now. But he needs to, I tell you, he's a great pitcher, and he has a talent to be a great pitcher in this game, but he needs to work on that pitch. He really needs to work.
Yeah, these are the adjustments they were talking about making in game. He's got to make those adjustments without Mike Maddox having to come out or Wash having to come out. But I need to mix it up now.
You got 2 breaking balls in that at bat. I mean, that's great to see. That's good to see.
And you'd have to think this is a perfect time for him to figure that out. With the ball club struggling, and everybody has said, okay, fine, we're just going to go on evaluation and get him and improve. Now's the time to take it out there and try different things. Now, you want to try and win the ball game, but it's not like trying to play down the stretch for a pennant contender. You're trying to get some development for 2015. You get the pitch breakdown. 84% fastballs tonight. And that pitch inside to Rodriguez. He draws the walk. 2 walks in the game.
Hey guys, we're gonna show you our new bobblehead for next week right here. Ready? Here we go.
Sorry guys.
Here we go.
It's time.
Yeah.
They brought it a little early tonight, but it's here.
We're going to send something to you guys in a minute.
All right. Robbie Ross finished for the evening. He leaves after 4 and a third here tonight. He's trailing 6-2. He's got a couple of runners aboard. And Phil Klein will be summoned from the Ranger bullpen to take over. A 6-2, I should say, Tampa lead. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park right after this.
Washington. Tampa Bay on top of Texas 6-2. It is a long season, so we try to keep things light in the clubhouse. And every once in a while, I do what I like to call a little segment called Ranger Most Likely, where I pose questions to guys about baseball and other things. Here's a little sample. Which Ranger is most likely to trip on the base paths?
Giovanni Soto.
Giovanni. Okay. Which Ranger is most likely to own a DVD of The Notebook? Okay, so there's a little sample. You ask questions about which one of their teammates is most likely to do something. So we left you hanging with which Ranger is most likely to own a DVD of The Notebook. First of all, fellas, does everyone know, or are they aware of The Notebook? Have you seen The Notebook?
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
I have not seen it.
Okay.
I have a 22-year-old daughter, so of course I've seen it.
Okay, Pudge?
That would be a no.
That would be a no. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you guys ponder this, discuss amongst each other which Ranger is most likely to own a DVD of The Notebook. And we're going to give you the answer a little bit later, or at least Adam Rosales' answer a little bit later, and a little more Ranger most likely as well.
Interesting.
The Notebook. That lost me right there.
I'm working on my choice.
You're going down the roster. Right?
That's the only way I can.
Yeah, I'm turning around trying to look out here on the field. Let's see.
Phil Klein missing with the first two.
I will come up with my guess is the most likely, but I could come up with a couple of great guesses for the least likely. I picked about 10 that never heard of it.
Klein on a relief of Robbie Ross, who worked the first 4 and a third. Robbie allowing a couple of 2-run home runs, 8 hits altogether. Pitch high and tight. Then the count moves to 3-1 to Escobar. Robbie walked a couple, struck out 3 on the 3 strikeouts he accrued were the first 3 hitters he faced tonight. And Robbie a little disappointed in how things turned out. This was not how he had envisioned it, especially after that first inning. He had to be feeling, okay, here we go. Got it back to where I want it. Klein with a 3-1 pitch. At the outside corner. And Escobar will make a U-turn, head back to pick up his bat.
If he throws him a pitch similar to that, he'd better be swinging this time.
Yeah. A Chevy tracker showing you that right there.
That's not a pitch you drop your bat and take 5 steps after. If the pitch is 6 inches outside, you might get a bad call. That thing's a strike all the way.
I saw somebody do that with Joe West the other day.
It didn't fare very well either.
Yeah, the wrong umpire to do that against.
Odor. Ruben.
No, it was for Tampa.
Tampa?
Yeah,
Their center fielder, I believe.
It was a left-hand hitter, I think. Yeah, it was Kiermaier.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah, he's that old school umpire. Young guys don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Swinging strike 3. Escobar trying to hit that off-speed pitch, couldn't make contact. That's out number 2.
Hey, Tom and Steve. Yesterday I was listening to their interview about JD, John Daniels yesterday, and I was very impressed with all those comments that he said. He was very positive, as far as thanking the fans and talking about their team and talking about the future of the team for next season. He was talking about, fortunately the season, this season is a lot of injury, but he said some very good comments about next year, and I was very pleased with his comments last night.
Yeah, and it's, that's got to be a tough pill for him to swallow, getting over the idea that how bad things are right now, and really look forward to next year. And he's doing that. Right? I think he has to have a lot of credit for that. That's not the easiest thing to do, I wouldn't think. I think the easiest thing to do, and what I would do, is bury my head this end and say,
As a general matter, it's not easy because you're expecting what you work your whole season to be performed right now, and unfortunately it wasn't that way. Too many injuries. That's nothing that you can do about that. And but again, sometimes you have to leave the reality, and the reality right now then is, there's a lot of young kids in the field that they are great talented kids, and that's another thing that we have to mention, that tells you how good we are in the minor league, having these kids and also the other young prospects that we have in AA, AAA, and Able, that they are getting, they're getting ready to be playing this level.
Well, the good thing about it is, a lot of these guys that are here probably won't be on the big club next year. They'll be back in AA, AAA more than likely. They've got big league experience now, so now they know, some different things going back down in the minor leagues that will help them at that level become better ball players and get back to the big leagues as quickly as possible. But now having that big league experience under their belt is going to do nothing but make them better ball players.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mac. I would think, especially if a guy can take the experience he had at the big league level, whether it's good or bad, and say, okay, I've learned the things that I need to work on from experience now. Now I can go and work on them and have a better idea when I get back here again.
But that's a good thing, Now, Ron Washington and the whole coaching staff knows, we can count in these guys. Even if next year is going to be in AA or AAA, but if the K is, somebody, get hurt next year, which is I hope not. We have some players that have already been here before, and they have the experience.
2-2 the count to Logan Forsythe. And that pitch just off the outside corner. The count is full now with 2 outs. Both Loney and Rodriguez will be off and moving. You look at that last slider. A Chevy pitch tracker showing you just a hair outside. The runners will wind it up and be off with the next pitch from Phil Klein. Tall right-hander unwinds and back to the plate. Skied to center field, not very deep. Leonis Martin coming on, puts it away, and that will do it. But Tampa Bay, on the strength of Evan Longoria's flash, a 2-run shot with 2 on the board halfway through the game, 6-2 Rays.
Trail the Rays by a score of 6-2, and now it is time for the big reveal, the moment you've all been waiting for. Adam Rosales' answer to the question, who is the Ranger most likely to own a DVD of The Notebook?
I gotta look around. Maybe maybe Neil Kotz.
Definitely Neil, definitely a softie. Which one of your teammates is most likely to watch himself or highlights of himself on the team plane?
Elvis Sanders. That was quick.
No hesitation there.
So, yeah, some pondering on the part of Adam Rosales for that notebook question. Neil Kotz, ultimately the answer for Adam. And then highlights of himself on the team plane, it was right out of the chute, Elvis Andrus. Not surprising, guys. Were you right on your guesses, Tom? Who would you think?
No, I was going to say Daniel Robertson.
Daniel Robertson.
But I don't know the guys as well as he does, so that would obviously have been a guess.
And I've learned, too, over doing these over the last few years, that sometimes the guys just have certain answers to get certain reactions out of their teammates, depending on who's around. Could make it a little more interesting.
Yeah. Rugen Odor leading things off. Ahead in the count, 2 balls, no strikes. He's now trailing again by 4 runs in this game. There's a strike. Odor a pop out to second base, his first time up there. Excuse me, check swing, foul ball. 2-2. Odorizzi back to the plate. And call strike 3. Woodhead knew it.
That's the second strikeout he's got with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball looking. So, the combination of his pitches, the fastball that he throws, he's got an excellent changeup that he throws a lot in the breaking ball. It's a good assortment of pitches, and it leads him to be one of the best strikeout pitchers in the league. He's 9th in the league with 139 strikeouts coming into the game.
On our Chevy pitch tracker, so that ball was right down the middle, which is got to be a cross-up what you're thinking about.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what Pudge was saying about Robbie. When you mix in a slower pitch with a hard cut fastball and your four-seam fastball, it just gives the hitter something else to think about and get the hitter's mind thinking, and that can be what it leads to. A fastball right down the middle, the hitter's taking it.
Absolutely.
He's thinking too much.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to. Here's another changeup, 2-seam down away, and ground ball. I mean, you have to change the eye level on the hitters all the time. You got to pitch up and in and out. Make some pitches. Try to use full baseball to just to see full baseball in the strike zone. You got to pitch here. You got to pitch down here. You got to go back up, get back down, and that's how you're gonna get guys out. You cannot establish one part of the plate, because if you do, every time each hitter goes on and on and on, they're gonna figure it out. And baseball is a game of adjustment. If you make adjustment really quick, you're gonna end up pitching a 9-inning game. So that's the key.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We're going to, according to our esteemed Kurt Dykert, our producer, we're going to give you guys the rest of the night off. You did a great job. We don't want to overburden you on this first night.
Thank you. And by the way, Mac is going to do a 9 innings tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Oh, really? Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it.
to take pitcher Martin Perez to school. Log on to MetroPCSTakeAPlayer.com for your chance to win. Metro PCS, wireless for all. Now we head to the top of the sixth inning. Jose Molina starting things off against Phil Klein, 6-2. The Rays on top of the Rangers. Wanted to fill you in, get you up to date, I should say, on the most recent rehab outing for Derek Holland. First pitch is a strike. Derek tonight worked against Reno for Round Rock, AAA Round Rock. Worked 3 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs, 1 of them earned on 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. That's Holland's fourth rehab start. High and tight, 1-1 to Molina. Still not a certain timetable of when Derek might be back here in Arlington. You know, Derek is chomping at the bit. He wants to get back on a major league mound as soon as possible, but he just has to go through the process. 2-1 to Molina. Jose 0 for 2 tonight. He has grounded out a couple of times. 6 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Tampa Bay, and 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Rangers. 2-2. Phil with a belt high set. And he got him swinging.
Good fastball by Phil. Go along with his slider, 93 miles an hour. Got that one by Jose Molina.
And let's check in with Jim Knox. Jim?
All right, real quick, Buzz, something special. Texas Rangers, along with Southwest Airlines, and Mitch and Suzanne Moreland have teamed up to share the love, and Suzanne Moreland's here with us tonight to tell us what's this Share the Love about, Suzanne.
We have Andrew and Trevor with us today. We got to meet them for the first time. We brought them in from Trussville, Alabama. They both had cancer together, and they are both Texas Rangers and Rays fans. So we wanted to get them here and do something special for them that hopefully will make lasting memories for them and their families forever.
That is outstanding, and I know they're at least doing one thing or two things. Enjoying the game, but also, how about enjoying that ice cream?
Yes, Lord.
Oh, that's good. Okay, good enough. Well, good to have you guys out here. Enjoy the rest of the game. Suzanne, good to see you. Appreciate it. Buzz?
All right, Noxie, thank you. 1-1 is the count to Kevin Kiermaier. Line just misses inside. 2 balls and a strike. Going out that ice cream pretty good. Well, backing out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Phil Klein came on with 2 on and 1 out in the 5th inning. In relief of Robbie Ross Jr. Got a strikeout of Escobar, and then got Logan Forsythe to fly to center to end the inning. Here in the 6th, he has struck out Jose Molina to start things. And he's getting ready for a 2-2 pitch now to Kevin Kiermaier. Got him swinging. Back-to-back strikeout.
Phil's faced 4 hitters and struck out 3 of them.
Well, before we tell you about Brandon Geyer, let's take time for a Mazda game break with Dana Larson. Dana? All right, Dana, thank you. The Pirates had a chance to pick up some ground today. Couldn't get it done against the Tigers. Got the Tigers starting to get things back in order. Geyer 1 for 3 tonight. Singled and scored back in the 3rd inning. Klein's next pitch. Fastball off the glove of Soto all the way to the backstop. The count evens and a ball and a strike. Geyer a .274 average. Couple of home runs, 20 RBI. Check swing. It's a strike anyway. Dyer now a modest 3-game hitting streak going after his 3rd inning single. He has hit .325 over the last 23 ball games. So he has gotten things back in order offensively. 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Oh, Phil Klein. Nice job there. He has struck out 4 of the 5 Rays that he has faced. He strikes out the side in order here in the 6th. After 5.5. Rays 6, Rangers 2. It's time now for the Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $400 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight, the Rangers are hitting for Reg Grant from Garland. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Reg Grant from Garland will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. And our director, Dave Burchett, who is a resident of Garland, said that's a community prize if they get $25,000.
Okay.
So Reg is on the hook for the rest of the town.
I've heard Dave is going to run for mayor of Garland.
I thought he already was the way he was talking.
No, he acts like he is, but I think he's really going to run for it.
Huh.
Most people think he's be a shoo-in.
He gets that $25,000. He can buy his way in if he needs to. Mike Carp leading things off, and Jake Odorizzi misses with that slow breaking ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Carp, a couple of fly balls to center tonight. 0 for 2.
Seems like every day you pick up the newspaper, someone's trying to buy their way into something in some city.
Or getting caught trying to do it.
Yeah, getting caught, exactly.
Two and 1, the captain Carp. Mike leading off the Rangers 6th.
Wow.
Now 2 and 2.
Some kind of change up, boy. That thing looked like it was going in slower, and then all of a sudden it just dropped 6 inches right at the end.
Almost looks like a split finger.
Yeah, it does.
3 and 2 now. Well, Mike trying to lead off the 6th by getting aboard. He'll be followed by the cleanup man, Adrian Beltre. Only damage the Rangers have done tonight came back in the 4th inning. A 2-run home run by Giovanni Soto following a bunt base hit. And Carp caught looking at a 3rd strike as Gabe Morales, the home plate umpire, rang up Carp on a pitch down and in.
Third baseman Adrian Beltre.
Well, he had to reach a long way for it, but that was because it was on the other side of the plate from where he had his target. Would have it looked inside from our angle, but we're off to the side just a little bit, so it tends to look that way. It was definitely not inside. I think Mike might have questioned whether it was high enough, and it was a borderline pitch.
6 strikeouts now for Odorizzi. 1 away. Adrian Beltre takes inside for ball 1. Adrian walked back in the first inning. Last time up, grounded out to his counterpart, third baseman Sean Rodriguez. 1-0 pitch. That ball is hammered down the line and left, but foul. Well, Adrian, that is a classic tomahawk. Wow. Two and one now as Odorizzi missed outside. Beltre, a .316 average as he bats here in the 6th inning. Now 3-1. Adrian batting 4th, will be followed by the DH tonight, Alex Rios. There's Alex in the on-deck circle. You saw Adrian the most home runs by a third baseman since 2010. Hit pretty well into the gap in right center, but Kiermaier got a good jump on the ball, able to run it down. That is out number 2. It's kind of fun to watch Kevin Kiermaier out there in center field.
Yeah, he's one of the more aggressive outfielders that you'll see. Runs well, throws well. Plays with a little bit of enthusiasm out there.
Sure does. So 2 gone. Alex Rios 0 for 2 tonight. A fly ball and a strikeout. As was it Buck Showalter you say he plays like a guy with his hair on fire?
Yeah,
that's pretty much right.
I'd love to watch him charge the ball and throw it. He's had a chance to do that a couple of times in this series.
And I was trying to. I can't think of anybody else I've seen that charges the ball that hard on every ball.
Most guys tend to get under control a little bit sooner than he does, but he's on the dead sprint until he's, maybe a couple of steps away from the ball.
Right.
And then he comes up firing, boy.
1-1 to Rios, a .289 average after an 0 for 2. That big hook bends in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Little tapper foul off the bat of Alex Rios. And we'll try the 1-2 pitch again. And Alex, tough time of late. Last 10 ball games, just 4 for 33, but it goes back a little bit further than that. You have to go back about 50 games. Just 227. Here's that Fox vision from last night at the charge of Kevin Kiermaier.
Now watch how fast he charges that ball. He doesn't really even slow down. He caught that ball on a dead sprint.
Fox vision giving you an idea of exactly how far he came in for that ball and how quickly he got there.
Yeah, how much time he had to go that far.
Now the 2-2. Two outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Nobody on. And the 2-2 pitch to Rios. Another foul ball. Odorizzi, who had been fairly economical coming into this inning. A little trouble putting Alex Rios away. Still just 87 pitches for the right-hander. Very reasonable number of tosses with 2 outs in the 6th. Another 2-2 pitch. Looping line drive that is going to settle into the glove of Yunel Escobar. So side retired in order. That's 7 straight now set down by Odorizzi and the Rays. We have finished 6, Tampa Bay 6, and Texas 2. Texas Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event, now playing at a Ford dealer near you. And our Ford game summary tonight. A bunch of twos up there on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, the Rays have two more of them than the Rangers have. A pair of two-run home runs accounting for 4 of the runs. Forsythe and Longoria going deep. Rangers a two-run home run by Giovanni Soto. 6-2, Tampa Bay leading as Phil Klein goes back to the hill for the 7th inning. Klein has struck out 3 in a row and 4 of the 5 hitters that he has faced tonight. Ben Zobrist turning around to bat from the left side. It's the right-hander Klein. Zobrist walked and scored in the 5th inning. 0 for 2 officially. Takes a strike to even the count. Look from the lower home run porch, right in that alleyway out there, top of the lower home run porch. The RF camera roaming around all over Globe Life Park. Zobrist, a towering fly ball to right. Chu is back. He got to the warning track, now comes in a couple of spots. 1 gone. And let's take a look at the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the night. And no surprise, it would be Phil Klein we're talking about. Struck out the first man, that was Escobar. And in the same inning, it gets Molina, Kiermaier, and Geyer. Freaky fast work by Phil Klein. Thanks to Jimmy Johns for showing us that replay. First pitch to Evan Longoria is in for strike 1. Longoria 2 for 3. And a 2-run home run in the 5th inning, an RBI single in the 3rd inning. 63 RBI now for the year. And Longoria fouls the next pitch back. That Evan Longoria would hit well against the Rangers in this park, no surprise. Since the start of 2012, he now has 6 home runs in 14 games here and has driven in 17 runs. Batting average a mere 380. 0-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Phil Klein up, down, in, out, and the Rays are turned inside out against him. 2 gone.
He's faced 7 batters, retired all 7, and struck out 5 of them.
He got that hanging slider to work its way past Longoria.
No matter what he's throwing, they can't hit it.
2 away for James Loney, the first baseman. Loney also 2 for 3 tonight. An RBI single in the 3rd. Singled his last time up in the 5th. He rolls over on a ground ball to Rougned Odor. That'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning, 8 straight, set down by Phil Klein and the Rangers. Rays leading the Rangers as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Crowd on hand tonight. Very comfortable evening here at Globe Life Park. Temperature in the mid-80s now. And news around Major League Baseball today. Rob Manfred was elected to be the successor to Bud Selig as the commissioner, the 10th commissioner in MLB history, and the owners electing Rob Manfred this afternoon. And Tom, you've had a chance to get to know Rob Manfred a little bit.
I did when he was a lawyer for the Player Relations Committee. That's what he started out doing, was with a private law firm. And I think they made an excellent choice. Very bright guy, loves baseball, been involved in baseball for a long time at the highest levels. I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, it seems like a perfect successor to Bud Selig.
Perfect. He's got a great personality. He's got a likable personality. And a lot like Bud Selig, I think he'll be someone that looks for a consensus and tries to make a decision that works for everybody. I think he'd be perfect.
He's been right at Bud Selig's side for the last 15 years or so. It seems like a lot of the inner workings that Rob Manfred has been put in charge of. Bud Selig will turn it over to the very capable hands of Rob Manfred. Well, the crowd taking the 7th inning stretch. Showing a little Texas pride. Folks having a good time at Globe Life Park tonight. Rangers trying to figure out a way to catch up against Jake Odorizzi tonight. Ranger captain doing his best to get the crowd going. Leonis Martin starting things off in our Fox vision to show you Leonis Martin's last at bat. And here's his bunt that went for a base hit.
Well, the third baseman is going to have to come almost 50 feet to field that ball. Martin has to run 90 feet to beat it out. And the way that ball stopped, Sean Rodriguez wasn't close enough to begin with to have any chance to make that play.
Jake Odorizzi, the first pitch inside for ball 1. Well, Leonis 2 for 2 tonight. The average now up to an even 260. Odorizzi fires a strike. Martin with 7 hits in the last 3 ball games. One. Now 1-2. And one thing we have noticed, and Ron Washington mentioned it the other night, before and after his 4-hit game, that Leonis Martin taking more pitches, being more patient at the plate, swinging at more strikes instead of just up there flailing away. And it certainly has had an impact on the results that Martin has gotten. Odorizzi to the wide, the 2-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Pitch up and fouled into the glove of Jose Molina.
And again, Odorizzi is a strikeout pitcher, and he's not just getting all his strikeouts by tricking the hitters with off-speed pitches and getting them to swing at curveballs and changeups. He's throwing his fastball for strikeouts too. It's not a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, but the way the hitters are swinging at it, it looks like it is.
Fouled out of play by Giovanni Soto. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. Last time up, Giovanni Soto with Leonis Martin aboard, and Soto launched a moonshot 7 or 8 rows deep down the left field line. His first home run of the year. Big breaking ball from Odorizzi settles low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Giovanni, a home run, and now 3 RBI. He loops one into center field. Coming on Kiermaier. There to make the catch. That is out number 2. And let's take time for a Mazda game break. Once again, here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you.
Astros have seen that one before.
Yes, they
They've
have.
had a lot of leads disappear this year.
Yes, they have. Jim Adduci, a strikeout, a pop out tonight. There's that slow hook that Odorizzi has broken out now several times this evening.
It's slow, but it looks like it breaks pretty sharp, too.
Now the 0-2 pitch. Roman Mendez loosening in the Ranger bullpen. May have seen the last of Phil Klein. If so, great outing for Klein.
Yes.
Time call. Klein inning and or 2 2/3 with 5 strikeouts. Taking over for Robbie Ross Jr. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Again, the line for Robbie Ross tonight, 4 1/3, 8 hits, 6 runs. They were all earned. A couple of home runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Another 1-2. Another foul ball. Jake Odorizzi trying to extend his run of outstanding efforts. Hit to center field. Kiermaier backpedaling, makes the catch. That'll do it. And that is 10 straight now, set down since the home run by Giovanni Soto. Rangers gone in the 7th after 7 complete. 6-2 Tampa Bay.
And OMG! All right, it's not her. Trust me, Buzz and Tom. It's this wedding couple over here. Tyler, all right, hold on a second. Congratulations. I understand you had the biggest wedding party tonight here at the game. 21 people strong, right? Wedding rehearsal. You guys are getting married tomorrow, and you decided to come out to the game. Whose great idea was this?
It was my great idea. Isn't it great?
It is a great idea. Okay. And you're good with this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, congratulations. Here's the shirt. Progressive fans of the game. Anything else you'd like to say?
I want to extend an open invitation to Tom and Buzz.
Open it? Okay.
And just bring all the guys in the truck out there.
Guys in the truck, come on out. They'll love that. Free food and everything. All right. Well, congratulations. Way to go. And OMG with this thing.
OMG!
I don't know. Wow. Whatever you do, don't bring her to the wedding, okay? I'm just kidding. Oh, man. Oh, thanks, guys.
I can't believe that doesn't happen more often to Jim out there.
No kidding. You know, we got invited, but they didn't tell us where. That happened a lot.
That's smart on their part. You think they want the truck to show up? They'd have to double the food order.
True.
Roman Mendez in for his 16th ball game, and it's gone well for Roman in his late season audition to go to spring training with an opportunity to convince Ron Washington he should be a late inning bullpen guy. 17 in the third innings, and he's pitched well.
Ahead of the count to Sean Rodriguez. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, the skipper's had a good look tonight at Phil Klein, his first outing that really lived up to the billing we had coming up from AAA, double in AAA this year.
Yeah, I'd have to say you'd have to go look all season long to find a relief appearance much better than that one.
Mendez, a called third strike. Oh, that splitter came back into the zone, and Sean Rodriguez, kind of a nasty look out to Roman Mendez to say, where did you come up with that?
And it's definitely a strike. That's not the easiest pitch in the world to hit the first time you see a guy and the first time you see that pitch.
It had a little bit of late dip to it.
Sure did.
Oh, one out. Here is Yunel Escobar.
He's watching it all the way. Right now he's thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Give me a break.
Missed the call.
Don't call it. When does he know it? Let's see if he calls.
Pop foul. That will reach the seats. Maybe take a look at Mike Carp. Well back.
I think he knows now.
You knew it there.
That's a lot of agony.
Yeah.
Slow motion look at the agony of a strikeout.
Escobar 1 for 3 tonight. Mendez with the 1-1. 1-2.
Good fastball, 95 miles an hour. If he can consistently throw his fastball right there to go along with that splitter, he's going to be in pretty good shape.
A pretty devastating combination if you go 95-96, which we've seen him do with the fastball, and that splitter was 82 or so. That's a great change of speeds, but the movement on that splitter devastating as well. Fouled off, and got a pretty big piece of Giovanni Soto, but he's all right. Still 1-2. Easy for me to sit up here and say he's all right.
Yeah.
Feel like a sledgehammer on top of the helmet.
Yeah.
Mendez peering in, getting the sign. Going to try another 1-2 pitch. Now 2-2. Roman just turned 24 last month. Has been working pretty regularly coming out of the Ranger bullpen. Escobar had a pretty good rip at that, fouled back a high fastball. The Rays tonight, 6 runs on 8 hits. Rangers 2 runs on 4 hits. Six of the 8 runs for each team, courtesy of 2-run home runs. Now a 2-2 offering. And splitter again, just a little bit low. It's a full count. Escobar single, an infield single back in the 2nd inning. A little topper that Adrian Beltre fielded, but didn't have time to gun him down at first. Now the payoff pitch. Right center field, back and to his left, Leonys Martin. 2 gone. Folks, the month of September is full of exciting giveaways at Globe Life Park. On Saturday, September the 6th, Rangers celebrate Star Wars Night. First 15,000 fans will get an R2-D2 beanie hat, courtesy of Chicken Express. You can get your tickets at TexasRangers.com. R2D, that's one of my favorite movie characters.
Yeah.
I like the droids.
They're just as popular now as they were when it first came out, too.
Look at Forsythe. Home run hitting second baseman tonight for the Rays. Takes inside for ball one. Forsythe cracked his 5th home run of the year, a 2-run blast in the 2nd. Added a single in the 4th inning. 2 for 3. Hitting at an even 250 as he faces Mendez. Little tapper. Soto and Mendez. Mendez the throw. It's too late. There was enough indecision between Soto and Mendez that it gave Logan Forsythe the opportunity to leg out an infield single.
So Forsythe had been in a little bit of a slump, 0 for 15, until he got an infield hit at the end of last night's game, and backs that up with 3 hits today, including a 2-run home run.
The 9th hit of the night for the Rays. That's their first hit since the 5th inning. 1 on, 2 out. Jose Molina, who is 0 for 3 tonight, steps to the plate. One ball, no strikes. Mendez okays the sign, and the right-hander comes back to the plate. 1-1. Played a slider that time. Jose Molina, the oldest active catcher in the major leagues. He's a 39-year-old, just turned 39 in June. Two and one. Jose started out 1999 was his major league debut with the Cubs. He was in Anaheim for 5 years, 6 years. Over the Yankees, Toronto, and then finally Tampa Bay. It's off the end of the bat, back into the seats. 2-2 now.
Must have been a catch.
Yep. Molina back in, Mendez back up on top. And Giovanni Soto getting ready to flash the signs out. The 2-2. Up the middle, behind the bag. Odor, plenty of time with Molina running. That'll do it. No runs a hit, 1 man left. After 7.5, it remains the Rays 6 and the Rangers 2.
2 lead here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Dana Larson wanting to remind you to join us right after for Rangers Eye presented by Esurance. We'll have the post-game show with, of course, as always, Mark McLemore and Pudge Rodriguez, their great analysis. We'll also hear from Yu Darvish after the results of his MRI today, and we'll hear from the new commish of Major League Baseball, just elected this afternoon, and we'll set up the upcoming series with the Angels. That is all on the way right after the game, guys. We'll send it back over to Buzz and Tom for now, though.
All right, Dana, thank you. The Rangers come to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Jake Odorizzi's night is finished. After 7 strong innings by the right-hander, Jeff Beliveau has come out of the bullpen to take over.
Yeah, Jeff's numbers, this will be his 11th ball game. Pretty nice ERA, pretty nice opponent's batting average. This marks his 5th tour with the Rays this season. He's had 9 different stints with the Rays over the last 2 years. So, boy, you talk about a guy that's going back and forth between Tampa and Durham. He's been Jeff Beliveau.
Beliveau very briefly part of the Ranger organization. 2013, pitched 1 game at Round Rock. He was shipped off to the Tampa Bay Rays. Rangers had gotten Beliveau from the Cubs on a waiver deal the year before. 2 balls, no strikes, the count to Rougned Odor. Left center field, hit well. Going up the alley, it's over everybody's head and gone. Wow. Odor to the opposite field over the 390 mark. Puts it into the bullpen for a home run. It is 6-3.
Rougned's hit 5 home runs this year. It's the 3rd one that he's juiced. He hit the one in Houston into the 2nd deck about 5 rows back, and you just don't expect your 20-year-old second baseman to be able to take a pitch up and away, top of the strike zone, outside, and hit it into the other bullpen. I don't expect that anyway.
I don't either.
That ball just kept going. That's where the big guys hit him, left-hand hitters. Maybe he's a big guy.
He certainly was on that swing.
When he hit it, you go, boy, I hope it's far enough to get over their heads.
Yeah.
Then you see him running. Wow, that's off the wall. Then you look up and it's in the bullpen.
That's a lot of power generated by that little guy. Wow. 5 home runs. And they have been impressive. Well, the Rangers with a pair of home runs tonight now have 90 for the season. But they still find themselves down by 3 runs. Shin-Soo Choo at the plate, a 1 ball and no strike count. Choo 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts and a ground out. Beliveau missing outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Beliveau's next pitch. 2-1. Shin-Soo had a pretty good 10-game run going. Might have 300, but he's starting to get back into a little bit of an offensive hole. 3 for his last 22. Count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, a couple of those games where he's just turning around the fastball. Mike Fultonevich was pitching, throwing 98 to 100 miles an hour for Houston. He ripped the inside fastball into right field and just made you think, boy, he's found it. Hopefully he hasn't for a while. He's reverted back now, 3 fastballs, and Swanee missed it, all of them.
Yeah, that's the 3rd strikeout for Choo tonight. 1 gone. Elvis Andrus coming up, and he will not face Beliveau, it doesn't look like. Bill Madden out of the Rays dugout on his way to the mound. Brad Boxberger, hard throwing right-hander, is ready to go in the bullpen if he is summoned. And Joe Madden takes the ball from Beliveau, points to the bullpen. He wants Boxberger to come in. So Brad Boxberger will be the next hurler to face the Rangers. 1 out, nobody on, a 6-3 Tampa lead. We're back after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Before we tell you about the new pitcher, we're going to show you the AT&T fan photo selection we made for tonight. Comes to you by the folks at AT&T. Dan sent this one in. Shot from the ballpark out here. Thanks, Dan. We appreciate it. For you folks who would like to tweet your photo, it's hashtag Southwest Fan Photo. We will select one to be aired each night that we are on Fox Sports Southwest. Brad Boxberger, the 26-year-old right-hander, on now, and he has been nothing short of sensational for the Rays.
I'll say 81 strikeouts in 50 innings. He's given up 6 home runs, but opponents are hitting 145 against him. Got that real smooth delivery and pops it in there, 93 to 95 miles an hour. And then his off-speed pitches, changeup, which is just about unhittable.
Rangers got a glimpse of Boxberger year before last, 2012, when he was with the Padres. Brief appearance. That was he was up and down that year. Rangers happened to catch him at a time when he was on the big club. 1-1 pitch to Elvis. He was in for a strike. It's 1-2. Elvis didn't think so. But, the guy whose opinion matters most, Gabe Morales, the home plate umpire, did. Boxberger, a high set. And he misses outside. Crowd of almost 30,000, or 29,000, 28,904 on hand here tonight. Rodriguez across the diamond. Andrews retired, 2 gone. Elvis jammed a little bit by that fastball that came right in on his fist. Now Mike Carp will face Boxberger.
Coming into this game, Boxberger, against the last 53 left-hand hitters he'd faced, had given up 1 hit. They're 1 for 53 against him.
Carp tonight 0 for 3. A couple of fly balls and a strikeout. And that's a real good reason why there. That changeup going down and away, and Boxberger makes quick work of Andrews and Carp. Rangers get a leadoff home run by Rougned Odor going the opposite field. We'll go to the 9th inning here at Globe Life Park. It's the Rays 6 and the Rangers 3.
Three Rays on top of the Rangers as we head to the top of the 9th, and welcome you back to Globe Life Park. This wraps up this 4-game series between the Rangers and the Rays. Next up, the Anaheim Angels bringing their Mike Trout. I'll stay away from fish jokes here. Mike Trout comes into town with 85 RBI. Elvis Andrus swinging a hot bat of late as well. .338 average in his last 19 games. This, of course, brought to you by AT&T Uverse. And tomorrow the game will be on TXA 21, so everyone gets a break from me and my bad fish jokes, fellas.
I thought there was going to be caviar in there or something. I was just waiting for that. Apparently not, though. Now we go to the top of the 9th inning here. And the 4th pitcher employed tonight by Ron Washington, Alex Claudio. He is on the hill, the second night in a row for the young man, the 22-year-old that was just called up yesterday from AAA.
Well, yesterday we saw Alex throw a fastball, look like a slider, and a real slow changeup, which the first time you see it has to be a little bit confusing to try to hit. Looked like he might have the kind of arm action and type of a breaking ball and sneaky fastball that would be tough for left-hand hitters. I'm sure that's what Ron Washington wants to see last 6 weeks of the season.
Kevin Kiermaier faced him last night. He was the first hitter that Claudio faced last night in the ballgame. And Kiermaier went down and looked, caught peeking at a 3rd strike. And he was the first one that Claudio faces tonight. We'll see what kind of adjustments a guy like Kiermaier can make against Claudio, and vice versa, whether Claudio will make adjustments. Right now he's gotten out on top of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Claudio, 22 years old, just got to the big leagues. He probably doesn't even know this is a guy he faced last night.
You don't think?
I wouldn't have.
There's that slow changeup that Kiermaier just able to get a piece of.
Well, last night he threw a changeup at 66 and another pitch at 76, and a couple of them you couldn't tell if it was a changeup, but you know, with the difference in speed, it might have been some type of a slider, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Another changeup, back-to-back changeups, and Kiermaier able to foul them both off. Last night, that was the pitch that throws Kiermaier at home plate. That changeup, first time he saw it, and he was mesmerized by it. Not so much tonight. He's able to at least foul it off. Another 1-2 pitch is coming. Pretty good, though. Almost a 20 mile an hour difference between that fastball and the changeup.
That's the kind of changeup that definitely makes an 84, 85 mile an hour fastball look a little bit quicker.
Ball, strike 3.
2 nights in a row.
Yeah. That's what Kiermaier's saying to himself. I can't believe it. I did it again. 1 gone.
Well, the other thing about him, he's 22 years old. Obviously, he's pitched for a short period of time to be in the big leagues. Didn't come into professional baseball that long ago, and he's pitched at different levels in the minor leagues this year. But even with that inexperience, he has to be nervous. He's throwing strikes.
Yes, he is.
He's throwing the same game here that he threw in the minor leagues. Looks like he's aggressive and has something to prove. He's not tentative. He's not hoping. Going out there and throwing his game.
Base hit to left field as Geyer got one up a little bit. He banged it in. That looked like the fastball, and Geyer turned it around for a single. 2 for 5. Well, farewell to an old friend. You've been tonight at Candlestick Park. Boy, look at all the. Paul McCartney played the ballpark's farewell event. Beatles' last live concert. Home of the Giants, the 49ers. Never played there, but
that was not at times fun place to play. A lot of wind, a lot of cold, a lot of dust flying.
Broadcast a lot of games there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not real pleasant. A night game there. It'd
be chilly.
Yeah. Out there on Hunter's Point. Now here's Ben Zobrist trying to bunt his way aboard, and it's going to roll foul. Zobrist trying to lay one down. Adrian Beltre charging down the line, but that ball just allowed to go into foul territory. 0-1 the count to Zobrist, who tonight is 0 for 3 with a walk. Now Claudio is, as Tom told you, different levels of the minor leagues this year. Started in A-ball at Myrtle Beach, high A-ball. Went to Frisco, then to Round Rock. Totaled 27 games, 9 of them starts through those 3 stops in the minors. To left field, a doozy there. 2 gone. The first is Geyer, and now Evan Longoria will come up.
Designated hitter Evan
Longoria, another big night in this ballpark. He is 2 for 4 with 3 RBI, a home run and a single. He has scored 2 runs. Average up to 253 for the year. Alex Claudio. Quick move to first. Claudio did not face Longoria last night. The 3 hitters he has faced in this inning were the only 3 that he faced last night, and he got them all. Now the left-hander is set. He fires a fastball that's just a little bit low for ball 1. And the 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Claudio last year, the Rangers minor league reliever of the year. '27th round pick back in the 2010 draft. Last year, Claudio worked at both Hickory and Frisco. A check swing by Longoria. It's a strike. 2-1. Soto setting that target outside.
Couple of sneaky fastballs. The last one 85 miles an hour.
Well located with a little bit of sink to it.
Yeah. And as a hitter, even if you're looking for a fastball, in the back of your mind, you have to be wondering, is this going to be the 66 mile an hour changeup? So it makes it A little bit tougher to hit his fastball, just thinking about it. Whoop.
There it was, and Longoria just able to get a piece of it. He's looking around, kind of smiling.
Well, that one was 67. If he threw it 66, he might have missed it.
Yeah.
Just hit it, ticked it off the end of the bat.
And that's what hitters think about, too, isn't it? You think about, or at least you have in the back of your mind, the pitch that can embarrass you. And I guess a changeup, in his case, would be the pitch that would embarrass. Guy that throws 98 miles an hour, you're worried about the high fastball. And a ground ball to short. That was underhands to Odor, and that will do it. Well, Claudio, another very good inning, gives up his first major league hit, but retires the Rays. Rangers come to bat in the bottom of the ninth inning, trailing 6-3. Rangers baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find Southwest Airlines fares online only at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PIC-ATT. Mobilizing your world. And by your Texas Ford dealers. The Ford Summer Spectacular Sales Event now playing at a Ford dealer near you. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Rangers trailing 6-3. Joe Madden has turned the game over to the 28-year-old left-hander Jake McGee.
We're talking about Brad Boxberger being a strikeout pitcher. Jake McGee is just about right there with him. He's gotten an opportunity to save ball games, and he's gone 12 out of 13. His ERA is excellent, 1.33. Has not given up a home run in 54 innings, and his opponent's batting average is only 180. So he has developed into an excellent closer with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball that he consistently throws right at 96 or 97 miles an hour. Look up at the scoreboard, it's only 95. Lightening up a little bit today.
Must be throwing against the wind.
Yeah, he must be tired. I bet you it's 97 before this outing's over, though.
I would imagine. Adrian Beltre 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Ground ball and a fly ball to center. Beltre, Rios, and Martin here in the Ranger ninth.
So two lefties that I can think of develop into closers this year. Sean Doolittle for Oakland. Doesn't throw quite as hard as McGee, but pretty much just as effective.
Probably has a little better breaking ball than McGee does.
Yeah, it doesn't walk anybody.
Yeah. 1-1 the count. There's your 97.
There it is.
Didn't take long. Well, McGee, big left-hander, 6'3", pretty sturdily built at 235. Grew up in the Reno, Nevada area. Gets the sign he wants. The pitch is line to center field, but right at Kevin Kiermaier. Adrian went down and got it, hit it hard, but nothing to show for it. One gone. Next will be Alex Rios. Rios tonight was lined to short, flied to center, and struck out.
You know, the other left-hander that's done the same thing for the Orioles is Zach Britton.
Yeah.
That's three young left-handed closers that didn't necessarily start the season out that. East leading Orioles. McGee pitching right here, obviously. Sean Doolittle for one of the best teams in baseball in Oakland. So nice development this year with the three lefties developing in the American League into what you would have to say right now elite closers.
McGee ready for the 1-1. Now 2-1. Rios with the batting average down at 288.
McGee is pitching very well. I think there are a lot of teams where Brad Boxberger might be their closer right now, the way he's been throwing too.
Fouled back. Yeah, it's, you know, and I think you're going to see more teams starting to do this where they have an option, unless they have just a standout closer. But you know, you get a guy like McGee, a hard-throwing left-hander, and a guy like Boxberger, doesn't throw quite as hard, but throws from the right side, where you can more or less trade off. You go with a hot hand, if you will.
Yeah, if I were Joe Madden, and I'm sure he does, I'd feel pretty comfortable with either one of them in the ball game late in the game.
Down the right field line, that's going to slice back into the crowd. The count will remain 2-2.
The A's paid a lot of money to sign Jim Johnson as a free agent from the Orioles to be their closer. That didn't work out pretty much right from the beginning of April. And Grant Balfour, kind of the same thing. Was signed to be the closer. He got to be the closer for a while. He saved 10 or 12 ball games, but then kind of fell out of favor. And now it's McGee's turn.
Just inside. McGee heating it up at 97 on the inside corner and just missed. 3-2. So Alex trying to get aboard. Rangers need a couple of base runners in the tying runner. Rios will be followed by Leonis Martin. McGee with the payoff pitch. He'll do it again. One thing about McGee, you know what's going to come. You're going to get that big fastball. If you can tune it up enough, you've got a chance. So you get a guy that's got a breaking ball to go along, and I think that's why Doolittle has been so good. He pinpoints to both sides of the plate, throws a little breaking ball, and he throws reasonably hard too. Another 3-2. Another foul ball.
Hey, you know, a guy's got a great fastball when he essentially throws it every single pitch and just says, here it is. It's not like he's trying to, well, he might be trying, but he's not exactly pinpointing it down and away, up and in. He's just, it looks like just aiming it for the middle of the plate, letting the movement take care of it, maybe missing the target by a little bit to get a better spot in the strike zone. But it's just coming right at you.
That ball hit well to center field. Kiermaier on the dead run back at the track and runs it down in front of the 407 mark.
Yeah, you talk about hitting a line shot to the wrong part of the ballpark. Kiermaier has excellent speed, and the 407 sign is the deepest part of right center field. Gives him a little extra room to run, and even though Alex hit that ball hard and on a line, he was able to run it down. So both Beltre and Rios against McGee have hit the ball hard, but right in a spot where the center fielder could make the play.
No, 2 outs here in the bottom of the ninth. Rangers still trailing by 3, and Leonis Martin, their last hope. to get aboard to keep things from falling apart tonight. This will be a heat check for Leonys Martin. See how really is swinging that bat. He's 2 for 3 tonight. Tough left-hander in Jake McGee, and the pitch outside. 2-0. Leonys a single to right field in the second, a bunt single in the fourth. He trotted around in front of Giovanni Soto on the home run. Last time up, our team went down swinging. Takes a strike here. It's 2-1. And tomorrow night, right back here, the Angels in town will be Nick Martinez and Garrett Richards. Be on TXA 21, a 7 o'clock game. Angels in for the weekend. Colby Lewis and Matt Shoemaker on Saturday. Sunday afternoon, Nick Tepish and Hector Santiago. 2-2. After a little protest back in there. McGee leaning over, studying the signs from Jose Molina. Now the 2-2 pitch. Call strike 3. Morales is going to complain again to Gabe Morales, but McGee gets the strikeout, and the Rangers go down 1-2-3 in the 9th inning. So the Rays win tonight. 6-3 is the final, and they win 3 out of 4 over the Rangers here in this series. The winner tonight, Jake Odorizzi, his 9th win of the year. That's tops on the Ray Ball Club. And Robbie Ross Jr. takes the loss. He falls to 2-5. 6-3 the final. Dana Larson, Mark McLemore, and Buzz Rodriguez back to wrap things up right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.